So young Prince George was just given a very old and very special name. This kind of name is only for people who will be the king one day. The people who work at the big palace sent out a very fancy and shiny announcement to everyone in the world. This paper talked about how important it is to keep things the same as they have always been. It had pretty words about the future of the royal family and how bright everything looks for them. It seemed like a very happy and sweet story for everyone to read. But away from the cameras and behind the tall stone walls, something very sad was happening. Queen Camilla was reportedly crying so hard that she could not stop. She was not crying because she is mean to Prince George. She actually likes him and thinks he is a good boy who deserves nice things. She was sobbing because she truly believed in her heart that this special honor would one day belong to her own grandson, a boy named Freddie Parker Bowles. The way she found out the truth was very hurtful. She did not get a private phone call or a quiet talk in a room. She had to read the news on the same announcement that every other person in the world saw. There was no secret meeting to tell her first. Her husband, King Charles, did not warn her. The people who run the palace like a big machine did not give her a heads up. It felt like a very cold and mean message. It basically told her that her family is not a real part of this royal world. This is where the story gets very messy and hard to understand. It is not just about one name or one hurt feeling. It is about many years of secret plans and promises that were never written down. It is about a big disagreement over what the royal family should look like in the future. All of these feelings came crashing down on one very bad afternoon. Before we talk more about this, please make sure you follow our channel so you do not miss any news about this story as it keeps going. Let's go back in time for a little bit. To understand why Camilla felt so hurt, you have to understand what she has been trying to do for a very long time. Camilla was not always the queen. She had to work very hard and go through many difficult years to get where she is today. People used to say mean things about her, and it took a long time for the public to show her any respect. Even though she is now the queen and stands right next to King Charles, she still had a secret wish. She wanted more than just a crown for herself. People who know her say she spent years making a plan for her own children and grandchildren. She wanted her own family, her own blood, to be part of the royal world forever. She wanted them to be woven into the fabric of the palace just like the other royals are. Camilla has 2 children from her first marriage to a man named Andrew Parker Bowles. Their names are Tom and Laura. They are grown up now, but unlike Prince William and Prince Harry, they do not have any royal titles. They do not have the word prince or princess in front of their names. They do not do royal work like visiting schools or giving big speeches for the government. The people who run the royal business, which they call the firm, think of Camilla's children and her grandchildren as regular people. They are called civilians. Even though Camilla loves her grandchildren very much, the palace rules say they are just normal people who are not part of the royal team. But Camilla never liked that idea. She felt that because she was the queen, her family should be treated as special too. In the last few years, she started working very quietly to change how the palace looked at her family. She started her plan very slowly so people might not notice right away. She made sure her family got invited to big royal parties and events. When it was time to take family pictures, she made sure they were standing in the right spots. Her grandson, Freddie Parker Bowles, is a very nice boy who is polite and well-behaved. He grew up very close to the royal houses. Soon, he started showing up more and more at big family dinners and meetings. He was often sitting near the most important people in the royal family. People who work at the palace say Camilla was trying to show everyone that Freddie was a great kid who could fit right in. She wanted him to be the face of her family that everyone liked. She was very careful about how she did this. One person who used to work at the palace said she never shouted or demanded titles for her grandkids. Instead, she just acted like they deserved to be respected just as much as the others. She was always hinting that they could help the royal family and do work for the crown, too. When she had private dinners or went to charity parties, Camilla would always talk about how well Freddie was doing in school or with his hobbies. She made sure that pictures of her grandkids were in the palace newsletters that go out to important people. She even made sure they were in the Christmas cards. Once Charles became the king, she started to suggest more strongly that her family should have a real spot in the new royal era. One person who used to work at the palace said there were even secret talks about giving Freddie a small title, like being a baron. It wouldn't be a huge title that would make people angry, but it would be enough to show he belonged. The person said it wasn't because Camilla was greedy for power. She just wanted her family to feel like they truly belonged in that world. She knew people would always see her as an outsider who came into the family later. If her grandkids had titles, it would show the world that her family was finally part of the team. But there was a big problem. While Camilla was trying to bring her family in, other people were quietly trying to keep them out. The people who give advice to Prince William did not like this idea at all. They believed that the royal family is a very special group that is only for people who are born into it. They think that blood and where you come from are the most important things. They felt that even though Camilla was the queen, her children and grandchildren were not really royal by blood. They thought that if they started giving titles to step-family members, it would make the monarchy feel less special. They didn't want to make things confusing for the public. Behind closed doors, everyone was feeling very stressed about this. Camilla was always being nice, but she never stopped pushing for what she wanted. She used her power as queen to ask for small things, like better seats at big shows or more mentions in the news. King Charles was stuck in the middle. He loved his wife very much, but he also cared about the history of the crown. He let her have some of the things she wanted, but he wasn't the one who really decided what the future would look like. That power belongs to Prince William now. Reports say that William had zero interest in making the royal family bigger by adding his step-relatives. It didn't matter how much the king and queen liked them. One person who knows the family said William has a very clear plan for the future. He wants a slimmed-down monarchy. This means he wants only a very small group of people to be called royal. He wants fewer people getting money from the public and fewer people holding titles. He wants it to be very simple so that there is no confusion. In his plan, there was absolutely no room for the Parker Bowles grandchildren to have titles. For a long time, this was just a quiet argument. Camilla kept playing a long game, hoping that if she waited long enough, everyone would eventually agree with her. But then, the name she wanted for Freddie was given to Prince George. It happened without anyone talking to her about it first. It was like a giant door being slammed shut in her face. It wasn't just a sad day, it was a final answer that said no. It made her feel like a visitor in her own home. To understand why William and his wife Kate were so strict about this, you have to look at how they think the royal family should work. To the people watching on TV, William and Kate seem like a very modern and friendly couple. They act like regular parents who care about people. But inside the palace, they are very serious and very strategic. They have a very big goal that they think about every single day. That goal is to protect the royal bloodline. They do not do this because they think they are better than everyone else. They do it because they think it is the only way the monarchy can stay alive. They believe that if too many people have titles, the public will stop thinking the royal family is special. One person said they want the monarchy to look clean and direct. To them, blood is everything. This is why they started to have a big disagreement with Queen Camilla. Camilla wanted a family that was all mixed together and happy. She wanted her grandkids and the royal grandkids to be seen as almost the same. But William and Kate stayed very close to the old traditions. Their view was a bit cold, but it was very easy to understand. They believed only the people who are directly related to the royal ancestors should have names like Prince or Duke. It was not about being mean to Camilla's family as people. It was about how the whole system is built. William is going to be the king one day, and he wants to make sure the family costs less money and has fewer problems. He likes how the royal families in places like Denmark and Sweden work. Those families are very small and only have a few important people. He did not want to give honors to people just because they were part of his step-family. When Camilla would ask for things for her grandkids, William would often just not say anything. He didn't need to yell. He just stayed quiet and didn't do what she asked. His silence was his way of saying no. Kate also reportedly felt uncomfortable with the idea of Camilla's grandkids getting titles. She likes Camilla's family, but she thinks about how it looks to the public. We live in a time where people are always watching the royals and asking if they are being fair. If they gave titles to people who weren't born into the family, people might say it was just favoritism. It would look like they were giving out prizes to their friends. So when Prince George got that big new title, it was a very big moment. It showed everyone that the future belongs to the Windsors, which is the royal family's last name. It showed that the Parker Bowles family would stay on the outside. People who work at the palace said William knew exactly how sad this would make Camilla. He didn't try to make her feel better or tell her gently. He felt it was better to be honest now so she wouldn't keep hoping for something that was never going to happen. He is not a mean person, but he is very serious about the crown. While the whole world was cheering for Prince George, Camilla was crying in her room. For her, it felt like her own grandson was being pushed away. And right in the middle of this big family fight is King Charles. He has a very hard job. He is the king of a whole country, but he is also a husband and a father. He is stuck between the woman he loves more than anyone and the son who will take his place one day. Charles tries to keep everyone calm, but this decision showed that he might not have as much power as people think. It showed that even though he wears the crown, William is the one who is really deciding what happens next. Camilla had always counted on Charles to help her. She would tell him her dreams for her family in a very quiet way. Charles would usually nod and say he would find the right time to help. But when he had to choose, he chose his son and the future of the crown. Sources say Charles actually thought about giving Freddie a small title to make Camilla happy. He wanted a compromise where everyone got a little bit of what they wanted. But William said no. He didn't think it was a compromise at all. He thought it was a bad idea that would lead to more problems later. He thought it would make the royal image look messy for the next 100 years. Charles has spent his whole life trying to make the monarchy strong, so he eventually agreed with William. This broke something inside the palace. People close to them say Camilla felt like her husband betrayed her. She had been there for him for many years through all the bad times and the mean news stories. She felt like he should have fought harder for her. She reportedly asked him if he even tried to help her. One worker said they heard them talking, and it was very sad. Charles felt bad, but he didn't change his mind. He believed he did what was best for history. The cost of this decision was very high for their feelings. Camilla reportedly stopped going to some of her royal meetings because she was so upset. The people who worked for her noticed she was very quiet and cold. Charles didn't push her to be happy because he knew he had hurt her deeply. For the first time in their long marriage, Camilla didn't feel like she could fully trust the man who had always protected her. She felt like she had been used and then pushed aside. The crown was supposed to be a way to show that she finally belonged. But now she realized that she was the only one who really got to be part of it. Her children and her grandchildren were still just visitors. The event where George got his title was supposed to be a small and serious day. It was meant to show that the boy was growing up and ready to lead one day. For the people watching, it was a cute moment. For the palace, it was a good news story, but for Camilla, it was a day of deep sadness. The most hurtful thing was that she didn't even get a warning. Even though she is the queen, she had to find out the news at the same time as the people reading the morning paper. She didn't even get a phone call from the king. One person said that when she saw Prince George's name in the news, she just froze. It proved what she had been afraid of for months. Her family would always be second place. That night, she didn't act like a queen who is always strong. She broke down and cried in her private room. She felt like the royal family was trying to erase her own history. She had worked so hard to get people to like her. She had stayed silent when people were mean to her. She had done everything right for the family that once didn't want her there. She thought all that hard work would help her kids, too. But a line had been drawn in the sand. Prince George was on the side that gets everything, and Freddie was on the side that gets nothing. Camilla felt like her opinion didn't matter at all. The palace was very quiet that night, and everyone could feel the tension. It was like a heavy cloud was over the whole building. King Charles tried to talk to her and explain why they had to do it. He talked about rules and what people expect from the royals. But Camilla was too hurt to listen. She reportedly told him that he let the family humiliate her. She felt ashamed. She stayed home for a few days and said she wasn't feeling well, but everyone knew the real reason. She wasn't sick in her body, she was sick in her heart. The relationship between the Queen and the Prince and Princess of Wales became even worse after this. Camilla saw this as a personal attack. She had climbed to the very top of the royal mountain, but she realized she was standing there all by herself. The crown could protect her, but it wouldn't protect the people she loved. Now people who study the royal family are looking at what this means for the long future. It shows that there is a big gap between the different generations of the family. On one side, you have the future, which is Prince William and his children. They are being trained to be the perfect royals for the modern world. They are the core of everything. On the other side is the Parker Bowles family. People are calling them the blended branch. They are allowed to come to the parties, but they don't have any real power or names. They are in the pictures, but they are not in the official books. It's like a tree where one branch is being watered and the other branch is being ignored. This could cause a big problem later. One historian said we are seeing two different ideas of what a family should be. Camilla wanted a big, mixed family. William wants a small, pure family. Both of them think they are doing the right thing for the crown. The implications of this are very big. It means the royal family might one day be split apart, not because of a big scandal, but because the family members feel like they don't belong together. Freddie and the other grandkids are not little children anymore. They are growing up in palaces, but they don't have the royal rules to protect them. They walk down the same halls as the princes and princesses, but they aren't on the official lists. They spend their holidays with George and Charlotte, but they are told every day that this world is not theirs. What will happen when they are adults? It might create a lot of bad feelings. Prince George is already getting ready to be a leader. He's getting honors and learning how to talk to world leaders. He's being raised as a king. Meanwhile, Camilla's grandkids are just in the background. They don't get any honors or special mentions. They belong to Camilla's world, but they don't belong to the royal future. Some people say this is a good thing. They say the monarchy has to stay small to survive. If they have too many royals, it costs too much money and people get annoyed. But other people worry that this will make the family resent each other. They wonder what will happen when Freddie sees George getting promoted over and over again. They aren't going to be kids forever, and feelings don't just go away because the palace tells you to be quiet. For now, William's plan seems to be working. The people really like his kids and think they are doing a great job. The idea of a pure royal bloodline is very strong, but the people who live inside the palace say the emotional cost is very high. The people who are left behind are hurting. Camilla feels the pain right now, but her grandkids might feel it more later. A wall has been built between the two sides of the family. The future of the monarchy will be all about the Windsors. This means that the family will be very focused on just a few people. The big question is what this costs the family as human beings. It looks like the family might be divided forever. For Queen Camilla, being the queen was never about being famous or having a lot of money. It was about being forgiven for her past. She wanted to show the world that she was a good person and a good wife. She fought a long battle to be accepted. And she won that battle for herself. But she never thought the palace would shut the door on her children. She hoped her grandkids would have an easier life because of what she did. She wanted them to be respected and honored. She didn't want them to be equal to the king, but she wanted them to be recognized as part of the family history. Instead, she was met with a cold no. The title given to George was a way of saying that blood is the only thing that matters. It ruined all the hopes Camilla had been keeping secret for years. Her spot as queen is safe, but she feels very alone. She will still go to all the big events. She will still wear her beautiful crowns and wave at the people. She will smile for the cameras and stand next to King Charles. But she knows in her heart that her legacy ends with her. The name Parker Bowles will never be a royal name. Her grandson will never have people bow to him in a ceremony. He will never be called a prince. He will never carry the weight of a royal title. That is a very heavy pain to carry. In this new royal world, Camilla is the queen, but William and Kate are the ones who rule the future. Their monarchy has no room for mixed families or special exceptions. Camilla wanted a legacy, but she found out a very hard truth. She may be the queen, but her family was never truly royal.